Right, let's get down to it. Is that a captain back, but 2 players more out after last night?
So far, I'll find out news by tomorrow morning. Obviously, sort of 24 hours just to settle things down. But it doesn't look great, obviously, with Johan and Robbie going off. So we'll find out more, as I said, in the next 24 hours. We'll probably get them scanned just as a precaution. We don't think either's drastic, but we keep getting these knocks in this heavy game schedule, and it is affecting us. Ben Mee comes back. Matej Vidra, as long as he comes through training today, should be back in and around it. So, we're a couple back, couple out. It's trying to juggle the pack. I don't think Dale Stevens will be available. I don't think, Woody's a close one, but yet again, I'm having to make judgments on these players. Eric, doubt it as well. We'll see. So, yeah, not the perfect scenario, but a scenario I've had for a while now. So we're kind of adapting to it.
With Goodmanson and Brady, almost a priority just to get them off before there's any more damage done.
Yeah, I mean, Goodmanson has looked free-flowing, actually, in his body and his running and his physical sort of performances. So that one's a bit of a disappointment to us. He did have a tightness in it last week. We got him off quick. Luckily, last night, to be fair to him, got his hand up quick and we got him off quick. So we hope that it's better news, but it will probably need a settling down period.
A point keeps the kind of scoreboard clocking over in the cold light of day to day. Is that a frustrating point or is it progress?
No, I think the varying challenge we've had in our own group, and then you take on the opposition, then to come away with them 2 games and a nice win at Palace, and then a pretty healthy performance overall against Fulham. We did a lot of things right, so only the goal was really the real blot on the copybook, because I thought it was a solid performance. It wasn't a spectacular performance, not as good as we were at Palace, but it was a very solid performance, and you need that over a season in the Premier League. You can't. Well, certainly ourselves, we're a constant work in progress. We don't think we can be brilliant every week. We have our moments, of course. So them consistent games, when you just give solid performances, they're still important, and another valuable point on the board.
Is there an added annoyance that in 8 times at home you've kind of made life more difficult yourself by conceding first? Or is that just the nature of the game?
No, not really. It's just the game of football. It can happen. I'm pleased with the mentality of when we have conceded. There was a time in our Premier League lifespan when we couldn't turn around games. We have done many times since. So I'm pleased with that side of things, the mentality to do that. And yet again, last night, a very quick reaction. A goal out of the blue, really. It was a softish kind of goal we conceded, but a very quick reaction, a very good reaction. We had some really good chances last night. I've been pleased with the quality of chance. You think of the headed chances we had, a couple of flashed across the box. Barnsley gets in behind, just doesn't quite get his touch right, tries to finish instead of controlling. We're adapting to the challenge more so in an attacking format. We've got to keep doing that. But we are asking more and more questions of the team. So I've been pleased with that, particularly down at Palace, obviously. But I thought there was good signs of it again last night.
Is it a sign of progress as well that, I know you've only got a small squad and I know you've got lots of injuries, but even if you change things around, you're not suffering quality-wise like you were maybe 2 or 3 years ago?
Well, there's no lack of intent from the players and the mentality for performances. So, like Josh Brownhill, he's played out wide before for us. He might have to do that again. And tremendous appetite as a player to do his team job as well as his job. Wesley continues to perform at a very high level. Corky's getting back into it and performing well. Dwight, continues to perform for us. Even when we're stretched, the 2 centre-forwards worked ever so hard last night as well. Kevin Long came in and did well. Even when we're at stretch, the mentality of the group is very important. And I think it always is, but particularly when there's a few challenges knocking around. And we've shown that we can work against challenges and work beyond them. And I think we're going to have to continue doing that until we get everyone fully fit, whenever that day comes.
And how important or how refreshing is it that this weekend marks the start of a kind of cycle where you're playing once a week?
Well, I think in the current predicament we've had, then I think, we hope it to be important, that being that it gives players more rest and more recovery when needed. Look, I've said many times, the schedule has been very, very difficult, way different to a normal Premier League season, but the world's different, at the minute, so everyone's trying to do their bit. It does sort of, unfortunately, in this case, it does favour the bigger squads, quite obviously, and the bigger clubs, but they haven't asked for that, obviously. It's just the way it's, landed. So it is a challenge with the game schedule, but it's no one's particular fault, and we just get on with it. It's simple as that.
And this weekend, West Brom, I guess you know what you're going to get from Big Sam in the sense that they're going to be really fighting for everything they can, aren't they?
I think all teams are. I think the varying look at the league, there's varying positions, there's varying clubs in positions. There's always something that you want. So I don't think anything other than a team that want to, try and win a game, that want to give everything like we do ourselves. So that should be a given, by the way, in the Premier League, that everyone wants to win. That should be a given.
Is it a tough job for Sam? I mean, it clearly is. I mean, he's got to try and get them out of the relegation places. But I'm just wondering whether this season, with COVID, with tons of games, with no fans, whether that's a more impossible job than perhaps it would ordinarily be.
All jobs are tough jobs. Premier League's a very tough environment to be in as a manager. Sam's well versed in it, way more than me. He knows the challenge. He knows the group. He knows what he thinks he needs to do. The reason why I say thinks, he knows what he wants to do, I'm sure, but it's getting everyone else to know that. That's obviously part of the tough side of managing and coaching, is to make everyone aware of what needs to be done. But he's done it many times before, so there's undoubted knowledge base there. But they'll be fighting. Everyone's fighting at the moment. We are ourselves for different reasons, not only for points within our group to make sure we can be competitive. Like I say, you should expect that at the Premier League, every level of football, but particularly the Premier League. I think everyone wants to be in it. Everyone works hard to stay in it, whatever level you're at, and Sam knows that.
And a sign of the time, sadly, that we talk about a referee coming back, Mike Dean refereeing after missing the last couple of games down to his own choice because of what happened. And I guess just pleased to see that he feels he can come back to actually working. Yeah,
definitely. I've said for many years that the one thing I've learned as a manager is I've always felt the three toughest jobs on any given match day are the two managers and the referee. They're always under the most scrutiny, the most demand, the most pressure, the most stress, whatever words you want to use. They're the three toughest jobs, in my opinion. From a viewpoint, that is. Obviously, the players have a tough job to deliver and all of that. But I mean, from a literal viewpoint, from a scrutiny point of view, through pundits, the media, often they're the three toughest jobs. So, we're welcoming back. We want people out there, referees who can feel free to do their jobs and referee wisely. Obviously, when the whistle blows, that's sometimes different. But generally speaking, I hope he's fit and well and ready to go again.
But the bottom line is we've got to do something kind of more constructive and progressive in stopping this happening. We're not just to referees, but to managers, to players, to anyone involved.
Well, look, it's always been there. I've played and been in football all my life since I was 16. So, you've always got stick from the terraces, from fans, sometimes in your private life. But that one's above and beyond. We don't want that, obviously. But you get a bit of stick in the street. Usually, I must say, to defend the situation, you know what, most people in my life as a player and as a coach and a manager are pretty gracious, actually. There's a bit of friendly fire, usually good-humoured. So I must make that clear. The very small minority that put all that at risk with whatever it is, vulgar terminology or behaviour or threats or whatever, in my experience, it is a very, very small minority, and I hope that continues, because no one or certainly not me, in a sport like football, you do want a little bit of that friendly fire. You do want an atmosphere, and it can't all be pure and wonderful. But you certainly don't want people getting threatened. That's way above the norm. That's something that's definitely has to disappear. But a bit of friendly fire. I like I say, most people in my experience, pretty gracious, actually. They have a bit of fun about it, a bit of maybe banter about what team they support and who you're with and stuff like that. I must defend the masses, because most are all right, actually. And even in ground, there is some choice moments, but never threatening in my experience, or very, very rarely threatening.
No, nice to see you. Good luck this weekend.
Cheers, thank you.
Thanks,
Excuse me.
Thanks, James. Andy Sixsmith at Burnley Productions.
Hi, Sean. Just following on about the social media, we were speaking to Westy this morning, and he said that his take on social media and this abuse, the talk of abuse at the minute, is if you're not going to say it to someone's face, don't put it on social media. How much does that sum up your kind of attitude towards what we're seeing?
Well, I think we try and just be open with the players and honest in our views and share honest views. That's his view, and I feel it's a fair view, because whatever you do in life, whatever your pathway is in life, if it's a pretty basic principle. If you're not going to speak to someone about it, and you're not willing to use them strong words, let's say, then you shouldn't be using them in the first place. If you're not willing to say it to their face. That sounds good in principle, of course, but we all know, not just social media, by the way, but often social media is not used in that way. I've experienced it myself with football fans who have said things via different situations. Then you meet them and they, let's just say, they're considerably different in their views. But like I say, some of the softer stuff it's neither here nor there. But when it's really harsh stuff and threatening stuff, and now and again it goes into vulgarity with people's families and the like, then we all know that's unacceptable. No matter what mood you're in, no matter what moment you're in, just unacceptable. So I think his rule of thumb is a basic but well-principled rule of thumb from his view, and I agree with him.
Just moving away from the social media, just on the injuries, especially Joey, what do you say to, he's just come back from an injury, he picks up another bit of tightness, like you say, puts his hand up immediately, and hopefully it's just a precaution. What do you say to a player? What's his mentality like at the minute when he picks up one injury and then comes back and then picks up another one quickly after?
Yeah, it's difficult. I had a long career and a few injuries, some big stuff with my back mainly, and also some of the knock-on effect with my hamstrings and stuff. And it's difficult. You get really low with it. You get really fed up with it. We try and be inclusive with these players. I don't over-question them when they're injured. Some managers going, why aren't you fit and all that? That's not for me. I leave them alone with the medical team. We include them in as much as we can. If they have had long-term injuries, if we're going away as a group, not now, obviously with COVID, but generally speaking, of course, we do take them with us and try and include them, keep them involved. The players are good here. They could try and get round the players, who are injured, particularly the long-term injuries when we get them. It is difficult, but that's part of the profession. They know it. Footballers know it. The young lads have to learn it, but the lads who have been around a bit, they know that it's part of it. You've got to be diligent. You've got to be professional. You've got to look after yourself away from the environment. And all of that work and all the strength work and all the recovery work, you just hope it continually pays you back when you get fit again. And we've had a real tough spell of it. It's new to me here, quite considerably actually. Considering our down the years, our stats have been very strong. So I think we're all scratching our heads a little bit, including the players. But it is tougher than a player. Most players, virtually all players actually, in my experience, want to be out there playing. Certainly don't. It's no fun being injured, I can assure you. Having been through it, it's absolutely no fun being injured when you want to be out there training, you want to be out there playing. Deep down, it's a profession and it's a very serious profession, but deep down, you're still a kid at heart. You still want to be out there playing football with your mates and enjoying that. And then the challenge when the games come round, quite obviously. That's what you're really driving towards. And when it's not there, it is a loss to you. So, there is quite a depth to injured players, not just the physical injury, but also the psychology of it.
I suppose just talking about the psychology of injuries, one player who's been through his fair share, Jay Rodriguez, he's had a bit of a difficult time throughout his career with injuries. Great to see him providing an assist like he did last night. I think you referenced it post-match. But with Chris Wood coming back, has Jay kind of forced his way into the reckoning there for a starting berth alongside Ashley, or have you thought about it?
To be honest, we've always looked at the main four strikers that we have as who's playing well, who can affect games. It's pretty... Mostly, it's a pretty simple thinking behind picking teams and the like. If players are looking sharp, they're training well, and they look ready to go, they look active, alive in the eyes, as I say, then they've got a fair chance of playing. And when they play, it's about delivery. That's the key thing. I played with players down the years who were very quiet trainers, but you knew they'd turn up in a game, and managers and coaches and their fellow players get an instinct for that. But ideally, you want players who are training well, they look alive, and then to deliver in games, no matter who that is. So we've got four strikers when fit, of course. There's a real group there, a real challenge. And Vids has popped up lately looking sharper and stronger. He should be, we think, available again at the weekend. Jay continues to add to the group. We know that. Barnsley's been here a long time and he knows his game and he knows how we operate. And then Woody, of course, who's statistically been a very good scorer for us and a good performer. So I like all four of them. It's about form. It's about that sharpness in performances. In this period, it would have been ideal to have all four available. We've had mix and match when we have and when we haven't, to give them all a break so that they can be sharp and they can perform.
Just a final one from me on West Brom. Obviously, you've gone up against Sam Allardyce a few times. Are there a few signs now, maybe not in the results, but the performances, that West Brom are starting to become more his team? He's starting to stamp his identity more on them in the last few weeks.
Yeah, look, I'm sure some of the results have got away from him. That can happen in the Premier League, even when you've got them organised and you've got them how you want them. He's just well versed in the Premier League. He'll know what he wants the team to do. He'll equally know the players he's working with and whether they can do it. He certainly knows the market he's in. That's for sure. He'll be the best judge of whether he's getting it to where he wants him or not, where he wants them, or not. Not me. My job is to look at our team and how we can affect theirs, to go and win a game. So I'll be really focused on that. without worrying about what Sam's thinking about his team. But he'll be the only one who really knows whether he's got it where he wants it or not.
Top man. Thanks, Sean. Best of luck with the weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andy.